This is Quinn Lowe.
And Antoine Jackson here.
And we're here today with another episode of Between Classes Sports. Tonight is a jam-packed episode covering everything from the local basketball programs down to the University of Tampa, USF men's and women's. But also we have to really, before the show ends, we have to give some extra attention to that holiday that some may consider February, that first Wednesday in February, National Signing Day for all the high school recruits. I know you follow college football a lot, so this is an opportunity for you to see some of those stars before they become they're stars on the high school level. But this gives you an opportunity to see them, what they could be and where they're going and what they're going to do on the next level.
Right. We just came from the Super Bowl and shout out to the Seahawks for that dominating performance. But basically, when signing day comes around, this is where those men who are in the Super Bowl and played in the championship game, tomorrow is the day that they basically decided to go make their college decisions and start that path to head to the NFL. It starts in college, though.
Oh, definitely. This is an opportunity for those guys that the top players, the Jabril Peppers, the who's who amongst the
Ermon Lane, Dalvin Cooks.
The who's who in high school football. They get their shine, but also you're going to have a bunch of guys that are going to remember this day remember tomorrow that didn't get highly recruited.
Right.
You have a bunch of guys that the 2 stars, the 3 stars. I mean, go back to Eric Fisher back at Kansas City.
Johnny Manziel
was a 2-star recruit coming out of Central Michigan, was the #1 draft pick by Kansas City Chiefs. Johnny Manziel, like you said, wasn't highly regarded.
3-star.
Highly recruited coming out of Texas. Ended up at Texas A&M, and now they're saying that he has the opportunity to be the #1 pick for his hometown, Houston, Texas. So it's an opportunity for those who may not have ended up where they felt they should have, but didn't get the attention that they did. This is an opportunity starting now to rewrite that chapter, rewrite that opportunity to give them a new start going into the college ranks.
Right. With this generation, there's a lot of talent. There's so much talent. Everybody knows the concept to work hard, play hard, practice harder. So with it being so many stars, you can't catch all of them. But there's definitely a lot of diamonds in the rough. A lot of teams will be surprised. A lot of people will be happy because I think a lot of people know. What these kids understand now, it takes a lot of hard work and dedication to make it to the next level. So the ones that pretty much get snubbed, who probably, they shouldn't have gotten snubbed at all, some teams will have to pay one way or another because they're going to be some upset people.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But it will turn into good motivation.
Or you have that guy that we haven't heard about because he couldn't afford the camp circuit, being able to go out to Oregon for the Open and being able to come down here to Orlando for the Under Armour, these various camps. But they still were good talents, or they're coming off injuries. You have a bunch of guys that may have been hurt their junior year, and that is the focal year for being recruited. It's no longer, you can no longer wait till your senior year to get recruited. You have guys now that are being offered scholarships, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. So by now you have some of the top players like a George Campbell. That's a 2015 receiver out of Eastlake who was once committed to Michigan. Now is easily regarded as one of the top receivers in the nation. Regardless of class, now he's able to get that scholarship offer to some of the best programs in the nation. He's having to make this decision or having to think about it a lot earlier than what somebody may have had to do 5 years ago and definitely 10 years ago. So there's an opportunity for some of these guys that didn't have that opportunity now to say, once I step foot on that, and it may be a USF campus, it may be a UCF campus, it may even be a Florida Atlantic campus. And remember, Alfred Morris went to Florida International, and look what he did. Wasn't highly regarded going into college. Definitely wasn't highly regarded going into the pros, and led Washington last year. Was part of the main reason why Washington last year made it to the playoffs. And
Alfred Morris, he's a kid. I think if I'm not mistaken, he's from the Pensacola area.
Yeah.
The high school that he went to, the word around town is his high school was the high school that used to beat Trent Richardson's high school all the time.
So and that's going back again, you never know where these guys are going to come from. And we look at the heavy hitters. We see the Alabama, once again, is at the top of the heap. But a surprise team this year, I have to say, since we kind of circumvented the show, we're going to start off with this now since we're talking about it.
Too deep.
Tennessee is up there. Butch Jones, coming from Cincinnati, coming from Central Michigan, has now set that foundation where they have a lot of people in the SEC looking for the resurgence of that orange down in Knox Vegas. So
yeah.
it's,
Well, with college football, a lot of fans, when fan bases, sometimes a certain team that's not as good as they used to be. Sometimes in college football, they want to see what happens when that fan base or when that team gets back to, the normal circumstances. And when they come back, it's a lot of, fired up fans, fired up players. There's a lot of passion out there. So, me being a Hurricane fan, we're hoping that Al Golden is the one to make it go the right way. Time will tell. But definitely, once the team has been down for a while, that's why the fans look for that next recruiting class.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That signing day, maybe next season you can have Auburn. Auburn went from 3-9 to a couple of players winning the championship.
Right, and that's the one thing I think that's what separates it more so from the NFL, because you still have to rely on having that money to recruit free agents. Whereas if you do what you're supposed to do as a head coach, as an athletic department, you get out there and you grind and you get to these guys, these high school guys, early enough, and you sell that sales pitch is good enough. You can bring in some talent that you normally wouldn't get. I mean, case in point, one of the local guys here from Armwood High School, Kyle Gibson, originally committed to Vanderbilt, but with the fallout of James Franklin going up to Penn State, he decided to reopen his recruiting.
Rightfully
and
so.
His mom wanted him to go to Vanderbilt. She felt comfortable with the situation, but something about UCF. And I guarantee this had to do with the ramifications of them coming off that big Fiesta Bowl victory.
Of course. I mean, one team loses a coach, Vanderbilt, and they had a nice season.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But it wasn't a BCS season.
No.
They were in a tougher conference, though. Now, if UCF played Vanderbilt head-to-head, I don't know who would win.
Definitely not. And this year,
Vanderbilt being from the SEC, I can't say UCF would just beat them like that. But UCF is full of Floridians.
Right.
So, here we go.
And we learned our lesson about selling UCF short going into the bowl game. So
sell them short at all.
It's just one of those things where you have a young man that saw an opportunity to be able to stay home, closer to home, be an hour and a half away. And I guarantee his door might be a little bit opening now, because the new coach came from Stanford, and there's a question, okay, do I fit into the system? Do I fit into what this new coach has in mind? And yes, I love the school, but what if I go to that school and everything falls apart?
Well, the coach could use the player in a different position.
Right.
You might feel like, okay, well, that coach looked at you as A, I'm going to look at you as B.
Right.
And we had those circumstances. If a player's heart isn't into that position, sometimes maybe what they would have got at that position before is not the same thing they're going to get at this new position if a player isn't willing to adjust to the new circumstances. So it's a difficult situation.
And it's crazy how recruiting has kind of taken a mind of its own. We remember the whole situation with the guys in Alabama, LSU, where the mother wants the child to go to LSU. Landon Collins' mom stepped up to the forefront, came back in with with Gerald Willis coming back and deciding to go to Florida. It's like, okay, now we have situations where parents are really flexing their muscles and being vocal about it. Before, we didn't hear so much about how the parents felt, what they wanted to do. Whereas now, and this will probably be the last thing we get into before we go to break, there's rumblings coming out of the state of Michigan, where I'm from, where one of the top recruits, Malik McDowell, a 5-star defensive tackle, is torn between 4 schools. His final 4 is Michigan, Michigan State, Florida State, and Ohio State. He wants to go to Michigan State. His parents, for whatever reason, and it still has not been revealed, they do not want him to go to Michigan State. He really isn't feeling Michigan, so they've kind of fallen off as far as being a true contender. And right now, and this is still, we won't find out till 10 o'clock tomorrow when he makes a decision, they're kind of reserved with the fact that they may send their son to a rival, because the parents are Michigan fans, but they're okay with him going to Ohio State long as he doesn't go to Michigan State.
That's peculiar. I mean, I can't. I can understand maybe parents wanting kids to go to a certain school sometime, but at the end of the day, if the son, me personally, if he's earned the right to choose which college he want to go to, I don't really. He's going to college. At least he's not going to anywhere else other than school.
And that's the problem. We don't know the full story. And there's been some rumblings as far as the interaction with the coach, interaction with the campus, where the parents may have seen something that the child isn't. Because the one thing that he did kind of cite was, oh, it's a party environment. So if you know your child and you know, okay, they may not be ready for what they're stepping into, they may try to kind of nudge them in the direction and say, you may not want to go there, because if you go there, you may lose your mind. You may not be focused on football. Right. And that's it. Either way,
what part of Michigan is he from?
He's from Detroit.
He'll be okay. He's from Detroit.
And that's the one thing that I think there also, because there may be some other underlying things that we'll never find out or never hear about to the end. So it's I wish all these guys luck. No matter where you end up, just work hard and just focus on the fact that you are a student athlete as well as being that star football player. And we'll be back in a few after we. And once we come back, we'll get back to the script talking about the University of Tampa USF sports. We'll see you in a minute. We're back. And I'm Quinn Lowe.
Antoine Jackson here.
And we're here with Between Classes Sports. Now it's time to take it local as we give some of the local schools some love. Recently, the University of Tampa men's basketball ended their battle against Barry University in a thriller when Eric Marias ended the game with a thunderous dunk to win the game 68-67. The victory moves the Spartans to 12-6 on the season, 5-4 in conference. In addition to that good dunk, that helped win the victory, Marias ended the game with 19 points, also had 12 rebounds. Also chipping in was Jordan Davis with 15 points and 8 assists. Their next game coming up is against Rollins tomorrow in Winter Park, Florida. They previously defeated them 76-63. So I guess they're looking to kind of get the daily double.
They want the daily double.
Oh, definitely. And this is a situation where you have an advantage over a team, so you might as well go ahead, even on their home court, take it to them. So it's just an opportunity for the UT men to build some headway as they get ready to go into the conference tournament, and just wish you guys good luck.
Yeah, UT, they've been playing pretty tough this year. I mean, with the record 12-6 is almost a testament of the hard work they've been putting in. You know, Marias, is that his name? Marias, is that how you say it?
That's how I'm going to pronounce it for now. Marias, so if you do know the pronunciation, please correct me.
He's been pretty consistent all year. You know, you can tell they've pretty much got accustomed to winning. I know they're looking to go to Winter Park and get a victory over Rollins College over there. But, you know, Rollins, they're going to probably try to play tough. Nobody likes losing to the same person twice.
Oh, definitely not.
It's basketball, so they're going to play hard. But hopefully UT can bring the victory home and, you know, continue, you know, improve on that record like you were saying before.
Oh, definitely. Now we're moving on to the USF women's basketball team. The last couple of games they split. First game was a victory over University of Houston, 71-53. In this game, Courtney Williams, this lightning in the bottle, this young lady has been playing very well. At that time, she recorded her fifth 20-point game of the season. She's stepped up in the absence of the twins from last year, and she's showing that she is the team leader, not only in the box score, but also in making sure that they feed their energy. The rest of the team feeds their energy off of her.
Definitely.
And make sure that whenever they kind of find those lulls in the game, even in a game like this, where she's the one that takes over, drives to the basket, and she has one of the most dangerous crossovers I've seen from a woman in basket. And she can get to
Saudi Roundtree, you think maybe?
Not that level, but she's definitely not. But she's at that point where on this level against most of the competition, she can get to the hole whenever she wants. Another person that I actually stepped up this game, and I nicknamed her Skywalker for this game, was Alicia Jenkins. She had 16 rebounds to go with her 10 points, and a lot of the rebounds that she got that game, she was skying over most of the opponents. And I think this young lady might be 5'9", 5'10", 5'11". She's not one of the biggest girls on the team. She's an athlete. And every time that I saw her go for a rebound, she had that extra oomph that you really look for. That I only could have somebody on the men's side, that double jumper that has the athleticism, that can get up twice before the defender gets up and has the opportunity to get the carry. Unfortunately, in the next game against Louisville, they took one on the chin, 79-59. It's never good losing a game like that, but I guarantee Coach Fernandez has them prepared and ready to rebound. Courtney Williams also had another good game from there. She had 17 points and 8 rebounds. Keelan McDonald stepped up with 11 points and 11 rebounds, and Inga Orikova chipped in with 16 points and 6 rebounds. The loss drops them to 11-9 on the season and 6-4 in conference play. They one thing I think that kind of got them, and I think they kind of struggled with this against some of the better competition in the AAC. They had 20 turnovers. You have to be able to protect the ball on the road, regardless of who you are. I don't care if you're UConn, Notre Dame, some of the top teams in women's college basketball. If you turn the ball over 20 times, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah, turnovers are a coach's worst nightmare. You know, they hate it. It stalls the team. It gets the other team in rhythm. It gives the other team momentum. It gets your players out of sync. It's hard to really get into your offense. Turnovers really can create a lot of havoc, and also it can hurt the players because if a coach goes back and see that you've had 20 turnovers, best believe when you go back to practice, he's going to run the error. He or she will run you to death.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So you will pay the price for that, definitely.
It's going to be a situation where they're going to try to make sure you don't have a repeat of that situation. No. And I think I wasn't able to check up on the fast break points or the points off turnovers, but I guarantee a lot of the lead that the Lady Cardinals built was on the backs of some of these turnovers. So hopefully in their next game against Memphis, which is tomorrow at 8 p.m., they fix these issues. Because you never, once again, like I said, you never want to give a team extra possessions that they have to get on the break, get on fast breaks, and be able to get some easy points.
Right. With Louisville, they're a strong program right now. Their women's, they went to the national championship game and lost last year. Their men, they won the championship last year. So with them being number 5 in the country, it really shows what their program is all about. Basically, the women, they ran up on a tough task, but hopefully that loss will help them be better tomorrow night once they play Memphis. Hopefully they can come with a victory tomorrow.
And definitely that game, and after coming back from Memphis, they have to prepare for Saturday's matchup with the Battle of I-4 as they take on the UCF Knights.
A rival.
As part of a doubleheader, which is rare. I really don't hear about this talk too often in college basketball. We have a doubleheader involving the men's and the women's basketball program. The women's game starts at 2 p.m., whereas the men's game is who they'll be facing Rutgers University is at 8 p.m. So to all my local fans who have nothing to do on a Saturday, this is a great opportunity to see both the men's and the women play.
Right.
Now, and they'll probably have some type of discounted tickets because looking at some of the crowds I've seen for the men's and the women's, anybody in the stands would be a sight to see. So this is an opportunity for them to get some quality basketball against a rival down the street. So I guarantee I wouldn't be shocked to see a lot of UCF fans in attendance because this is like I said, an opportunity for them to get a good road game, even though the Knights have been struggling on the season. But you never take for granted that rivalry.
Well, USF, they have a nice gymnasium. It's a nice atmosphere. You know, the fans that are there, they bring the energy. So if you can support USF, support your local, USF Athletics. It's Division I. They're an American Athletic Conference, one of the tougher divisions across the country. You'll see some great basketball, so show support if you can.
Right, and it's time for another break, and once we come back, we'll really get into the men's who also went 1-1 this past couple of games, so we'll see what Coach Heath and the young boys did right and what they did wrong and what they can do to fix the things before their next game in the upcoming days. See you next minute.
We're back Between the Classes magazine. Antoine Jackson.
Quinn Lowe.
Okay, we're here to talk about the USF men's basketball who, as you were saying before, split 1-1. They took a loss to Cincinnati this past Saturday. However, they did defeat SMU and Larry Brown. So let's get the worst out of the way. With the Cincinnati loss, what did you think about that?
This is an indicative of how the Bulls have been playing all season. Against some of the teams that they shouldn't be able to beat, they play a lot closer. Like the first game, they held it pretty close, but got settled too much for the outside jumper. I think 6 of the last 7 final shots that they took were outside jumpers, with 5 of them being 3-pointers.
So it sounds like they pretty much just let it slip away. Probably think they were maybe a little bit nervous at the moment. They knew they had Cincinnati. It would have been a great win for the program. On the road in Cincinnati. Cincinnati had just defeated Louisville. Had probably maybe looked over USF a little bit. USF had them in a perfect position to basically put a staple in the American League Conference. Like, hey, we're here. But maybe they were a little scared to seize the moment. I don't want to say scared, but
they got out of there what works well for them. Because this is a team that I noticed that even against the SMU victory, this is a team, if they go in first and let the opposing defense kind of focus on that and have to worry about stop Chris Perry, Johnny Bunu, and Victor Rudd. That opens out the jump. Excuse me. That opens up the jump shot. But too often, if they're settling for jumpers, that they're not getting enough ball movement from the interior game, and they only shoot 29% from 3-point line. So this is not an outside shooting team. So why would you settle when this isn't your strong point?
I mean, the only really real 3-point legitimate threat I've seen really is Corey Allen Jr. I think his game is improving as the season goes along. As far as Victor Rudd, he's playing nice. I can see what you're saying. You know, sometimes they might get too complete. Sometimes it may seem like they're not. They may feel like they're better than what they really are. But they are a great team. They are a good team. They definitely are a good team. But you know, you have to make sure you just step on them all the way. You put the foot all the way down and crush them, and then you can start shooting the jumpers a little bit. Show us what you made of. But Stan Heath has done a great job. They've been improving ever since that beat down by Louisville. The embarrassment. The team has responded. Chris Perry has become more of a force in the post.
Because even in the Cincinnati game, Perry had 13 points. Rudd had 11 points. So they're showing the potential. It's just not consistent enough.
It's not consistent. The team is young. Victor Rudd, I think he's showing his moments. I personally like Victor Rudd's game. He showed me where he gets in a one-on-one situation, and pretty much the defense is at his mercy. If he's not in the NBA, I definitely can see him cross seas. You know, we know he's going to play basketball somewhere.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He has the size. He has the handle for a guy that's 6'9".
He has one-on-one game. He has one. He reminds me of James Harden, and like you were saying, he's from L.A. You know, he doesn't handle as much as Harden, but Victor Rudd is nice.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
He's nice, people. Believe that. He's nice.
But now we have to get to the victory, the 78-71 victory over SMU. Now, you had an opportunity to talk to Larry Brown. What were those nuggets that he gave you as far as the difference between the college level and the NBA level talent?
Well, Larry was saying basically that a lot of the college kids these days, they think they're NBA players. And this, with him being around the game as long as he's been around the game, it kind of makes it hard for him to coach for the kids to buy into his system. Now, after they took their loss to USF, I'm quite sure they had no choice. Well, losing will humble you. Definitely. So his players probably had to listen to Larry after that. Now, that next Saturday, they came back and they beat Memphis pretty good.
Yeah, they did upset Memphis. So I'm guessing that whatever Coach Brown had to say between the USF game and practice and whatever, it woke them up.
Right. You have to respect Larry Brown. He's coaching the NBA, several teams in the NBA.
NBA title with the Pistons.
Yeah, with your team, your hometown team.
Definitely.
So, yeah, Larry was in the building, you know, definitely. He's a nice guy, and, you know, he was respectable, definitely.
And part of the game that, once again, the inside game of USF led them to victory. Chris Perry had a career-high 18 points. Victor Rudd had 21 points to lead them. And in having that 21 points, past the 1,000-point mark in his USF career, was put him at 17 on the all-time scoring list.
He transferred here. He sat out here, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he spent his first year at Arizona State, transferred in. So he really hasn't had the full complement of time that most typical players do. So for him to be able to be that high up on the list says a lot about his scoring ability and his dedication to and the trust that Coach Heath has in him being that go-to guy.
Rudd the Stud is his new name to you people.
Oh, definitely.
Rudd the Stud.
And one thing I think, in addition to the offense, and I pointed this out in the story that I did, they shut down the inside game. Last game, SMU interior offense killed them. They had two or three guys with double-figure rebounds, whereas, and surprisingly, which is hard for me to believe, their interior power forward and their center didn't have any fouls in the game.
But one thing I like that Larry Brown mentioned, he said that the first game, he said he thinks that his players were probably talking to USL players a little bit. He said he used the word chirping, like basically talking trash. Because Larry said the second game when they came to USL, he said he seen a different team, and he said USF seemed a little bit more fired up.
Oh yeah, definitely. So that's the one thing, you have to protect the house. And when you have somebody that embarrassed you like they did, they lost 71-54 that first game, and it wasn't close. They jumped out on them boys they sucker punched them, and from that point on, it was ugly. So you had to. I think Coach Heath really didn't have to spend too much time motivating these guys to say all he had to show them was the score box. This is what happened in the last game. Are you gonna let them come back into are you gonna let them come into your house and do the same thing? And like most men, they said no. They stood up, and one of the key players for SMU ended up fouling out after not having any fouls the previous matchup. So they focused on that inside game, and it's going to be interesting, not just for the rest of the season, but throughout their career, just seeing what happens with Johnny Bunu as well as Chris Perry. Because
Larry Brown had some NBA players on that staff. George Lynch was on that staff also.
Yeah,
working with those guys.
So that's the one thing. This is a great litmus test for USF because they're going up against a guy that probably has some NBA sets in their practice in their offense and their defense because he comes from a wealth of knowledge, and these guys have the skill set to kind of execute these things.
Get his players.
So for them to be able to rebound the way they did, to bounce back the way they did, this is a game that even after that Cincinnati game, this is something that Coach Heath can always point back to say, if we can play this way for the next couple of games against, like I said, against the game against UC, the upcoming games that they have coming up, they play Rutgers on. Once again, like I said, on the 8th at 8 p.m.
Looking for a victory.
Then they play UCF at 7 p.m.
Looking for another victory.
So there's some games, some opportunities for them to build some momentum. And if not the NCAA, if they play well in AAC tournament, to get that NIT bid. And you never know what happens once you get into that tournament. But
Stan is building some more expectations. It kind of seemed like the season started out pretty, nice. Then we went down a little bit. Now it's like, okay, these next two games, I expect to win versus Rutgers.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And then win versus UCF. And then we take it from there. But Stan is doing a great job. Hopefully he can keep winning.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And that's one thing I think all the coaches in the area have done a great job of handling, not getting too high with the victories and not getting too low with the losses. So that's one thing, as we've always been telling you guys, if you have nothing to do, come check out some of the local teams, whether it's the Division I, USF, men's and women's, the University of Tampa, or even dropping down to ACC. There's some quality basketball, quality sports being played in the area. So, and we're the source. If you want to hear about everything that's going on, please feel free to tune in whenever you get a chance to and support the team, support us, and we appreciate you guys for listening in. So, it looks like another episode is in the books.
Another episode in the books. Hard work pays off. No grind, no shine. If it's your time, do what you have to do.
And before we go, I got to give a shout out to Trey Watson. This is one of those 2-star guys that didn't get much. I got to go back to the recruiting. Out of Tampa Bay Catholic, 2-star recruit. Didn't get heavily recruited, but he did get some offers. He's headed off to University of Illinois. So
we'll take that.
This is a guy that shows it.
Champagne.
Oh, definitely. He shows how if you work hard, like your mentor said, if you work hard, you get the benefits, and he's gonna go off there. And I guarantee he's gonna show some teams. Oh, you regret. Oh, you missed out on not recruiting.
He's one of the kids you helped mentor. Yeah, I know. If he's affiliated with you by any type of way,
definitely.
He's finna come with some type of animal instinct.
So, once again,
the D.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
so we look forward to next week having some recaps of some of these victories. I'm not even calling for no defeats next week for any of these teams. So we'll have a lot to talk about. Have a recap for the National Signing Day. Were there any surprises? Were there some shockers? So
there's gonna be some shockers.
It's always a good thing to tune into Between Classes Sports. I'm Quinn Lowe.
I'm Antoine Jackson here.
And good night.
Good night, people.
You know how we do it, we have funky music in our ear. We get to writing, ain't no fighting, we just in there trying to win. Ooh yeah, la-di-da, we grinding hard. Ooh yeah, we not gonna stop. Yeah, 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 yeah. Too late to turn back now. I got work to do. On a mission, by my business, I'm pushing through, no slacking. Make it happen, we grinding hard, we grinding hard. You know how we do it, we have funky music in our ear. We get to writing, ain't no fighting, we just in there trying to win. Ooh yeah, la-di-da, we grinding hard. Ooh yeah, we not gonna stop. Yeah, 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 yeah. Too late to turn back now. I got work to do. On a a mission, by my business, I'm pushing through, no slacking. Make it happen, we grinding hard, we grinding hard. You know how we do when we have funky music in our ear. We get to writing, ain't no fighting, we just in there trying to win. Ooh yeah, la-di-da, we grinding hard. Ooh yeah, we not gonna stop. Yeah, 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 yeah. Too late to turn back now. We got work to do. On a mission, by my business, I'm pushing through, I'm pushing.